Nathan, Richmond's lost the favourite son this week. The same thing happened to you guys in 2012, about 11 days before Jimmy died. Looking back, how did it affect you? And, I guess, how do you think it's tough it's going to be for the Richmond guys this week?
Obviously with Jimmy passing away, it was a pretty emotional week for the footy club, and I guess the tough task is to kind of try and balance that and not let it absorb too much of the playing group so they can still perform on the weekend. And I think that's one of the hardest things to do. That's an individual thing, and how the death of someone affects the individual is sort of almost out of the control of the footy club. But look, it's a sad time for Richmond Footy Club, obviously, with them losing Tommy, and I think it's a great opportunity and a great round to reflect not only his service to the Richmond Footy Club, but in terms of just his standing and status in terms of the entire competition. And it'll be a great opportunity this weekend to honour him, and obviously Richmond will be paying a pretty significant tribute, and it'll be a pretty exciting game. I'm sure they'll be pumped up and wanting to perform.
So it'll be special for the D's players too, the occasion?
Yeah, no doubt. I think when you're playing a game like that, it's going to be driven highly with emotion, and I'm sure Richmond, like I said, Richmond will deal with it however they see fit this week, and I'm going on my past experiences. I'm sure they'll be trying not to get too, I guess, emotionally connected, but that's, like I said, that's an individual thing, and they'll deal with that the best they can. But I know for sure they'll be coming out and trying to honour him with how they play this weekend, and we're well aware of that, and looking forward to it. It'll be a great challenge for us for where we're at, and we're looking forward to a pretty tightly contested game.
How difficult was your loss to the Dogs to sort of stomach after coming so close?
Yeah, it was really disappointing. I think we've given ourselves a lot of opportunities this year, and we've fallen short on a few occasions. So, on the weekend we probably had the game in our grasp in that last quarter. I think we were leading at the 21-minute mark, and a lot of the key statistics, fell our way, but we weren't able to convert inside 50 in particular. And look, the Doggies took their opportunities and ran away with it, which is disappointing for us. But, we reviewed the game, and there's so many opportunities that we missed, and looking forward to hopefully resurrecting that this week and putting ourselves in that position again, and hopefully improving.
What did you make of the umpiring? Ruzi was pretty scathing of the way a couple of decisions went there. What did you make of it?
They pay what they see, and my opinion is probably similar to Ruzi. I didn't think the free kick was there, but umpires make the call on the night, and that's what they saw, and they're doing their best. And the pressure situation, that was the call that was made, and I don't think that influenced the result as much. I think there's other opportunities in probably the first three quarters where we cost ourselves the game. So, you can't probably go back to that one or two decisions in the final quarter. There's more opportunities that we could have controlled that probably cost us. Is
it confusing for players though? Ruzi was saying that the interpretation has changed significantly this season.
Yeah, I think there is a few rules that are, there's a bit of grey area. It's not black and white. Like, if you do this, the free kick will be paid. If you don't, it'll be play on, and that's tough for the players, because obviously you go into contest with a little bit of trepidation, and you're probably unsure how it's going to be adjudicated, possibly for that week or even that instance. So I think there's a few rules that probably got to be looked at. In particular, probably the marking contest one, and possibly we've seen over the recent weeks the bump. That's probably been ironed out over the last week or so, but there has been that grey area in the past.
Were you surprised at how many players actually went to use the bump over the weekend, given that the week that Jack Finey had the week before?
I was watching a few games and saw it unfold, and it was an interesting one, but I don't think they were thinking what had just happened in the week past. It's a pretty split-second decision. It's like it's almost instinctive when you're doing it, and depending on how you're being brought up and stuff, like I said, it kind of just happens in the moment, and I guess now there is that duty of care that players have got to have, that you don't hit in the head, and if you do choose to bump, you hit with high contact, expect it to be looked at in particular. And I think how it was handled this week in terms of the players that got reprimands or suspended and the players that got off, I think it made it much clearer anyway. And
just Dean Turlock, he received a pretty heavy one. How's he going with that concussion?
Yeah, well, it's obviously we'll have to see how he goes with training today, and I'm not sure in terms of how he's passed through the week medically, but I'm sure the doctors will assess him today, and if he gets through and passes all the kind of the requirements for concussion, I'm sure he'll be right to play.
You struggle to find anyone who thinks the team hasn't improved this year, but I guess given you've played, I think, 5 games at home and I think only 2 against top 8 teams, do you sort of think like this is probably the base that you should have done so far?
It's a tough one, Like I think I wasn't really sure at the start of the year where we'd be now, and probably now I'd say that I'm really frustrated because we've given ourselves so many opportunities but haven't been able to capitalise. And I think one message that Ruse really pushed, obviously at the start of the year, is trying to get us to improve from where we were coming from. But he is confident, and the coaching staff's confident that we're ready to win with the group and the list that we've got now. We're ready to win. And that's probably where the frustration lies, because we've improved to the point where we're giving ourselves opportunities, but we haven't been able to win those games. And I think if we can continue to do that and continue to make inroads in terms of learning with missed opportunities and capitalising on that the following week, I'm sure those wins will come. But yeah, at the moment it's kind of a little bit of frustration. We acknowledge that there has been a significant amount of improvement, but it's probably the wins and runs on the board is what we're looking for.
And until the past 2 years, you and Richmond have seemingly been at pretty similar stages of your development. Do you see, I guess, with the way they've started, you might have a chance this week to, I guess, peg it back a bit? Yeah,
well, we're well aware that they're probably not on top of their game, but look, they've got some really key players. Obviously, their forward line set up, and they're pretty strong through the midfield as well, and got some really good ball users off half-back. So we're going to have to come with our best game, with that real competitive edge and that real tackling mentality that we've tried to bring in the first sort of 6 or 8 rounds. And look, I think we go in every game thinking that it's an opportunity to win, no matter who we've played, and we've shown that with the wins we've got this year, probably pinching against Carlton and Adelaide over in Adelaide. So I think this week just provides us with another opportunity to do that, and if we play our role and play how Ruzi and the coaches are trying to implement, I'm sure that we can be in the contest and give ourselves another opportunity.
Frawley also got a bit of an injury the other night. Is he likely to play? Or
again, I can't make an assessment medically, but from what I've spoken to him, he's got to get through training again, similar to Dean, and if he passes all the requirements and the testing and from a medical perspective, I'm sure he'll be right to play.
We haven't seen Sam Blease this year, but he got BOG in the VFL apparently. I know the knock on him's typically been his endurance. What's the message been for Ruzi to him, and how do you think he's travelling at the moment? Yeah,
look, I think they changed his role up last weekend. He played a little bit more off half back, and I think for Bleasy, the knock of endurance has been that in terms of probably a skill set, but it's more the consistency and him being able to put games together. And I think he's played 2 or 3 good weeks in a row, and I guess the kind of philosophy that coaches have gone with here is if you're back in the VFL, we want to see consistent form, and he's starting to string that together, and I'm sure when he does, it's going to put him in the best position to come forward and play in the AFL side and at his best and play his role. And he's not too far away. He's in pretty good form, and I'm expecting him to play well again this weekend and continue to put his hand up. And I'm sure he'll keep banging the door down until he gets his chance. And when he does, he'll be ready to go.
But given his pace, if he is able to claim one of those halfback berths in the senior team, does it possibly, a good chance to really benefit the team?
Oh, there's no doubt about that. I think at the moment we're probably structuring up pretty well. We've got guys playing their role, and Bleasy's trying to play his role down at Casey, and he's going to keep pushing for a spot, and it's healthy competition which you want when you're trying to climb the ladder and perform each week. And if he can keep putting pressure on the half-backs, and it's a new role for him, that's good for us and it's good for him. And like I said, if he continues to do that and consistently does it, he'll get his opportunity.